No more Canadian tariffs on Chinese cars? PM Carney's meeting with Xi Jinping may be the start. Congratulations, America. You played yourself. While you were busy slapping tariffs on everything that moves and calling it winning, guess who just became the world's most popular prom date? China. And Canada? Oh, Canada's about to RSVP to Xi Jinping's party. Buckle up, because this trade war just got a plot twist nobody saw coming. Except, literally everyone who understands basic economics. What's up, Canada Bulletin fam? Welcome back to the channel, where we break down the news that actually matters to Canadians, with just enough sass to keep you awake. Today, we're talking about Prime Minister Mark Carney's upcoming meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, and why this could mean the end of those hefty tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. If you thought Canada was just going to sit back and watch America burn its own house down, think again. We're about to witness a diplomatic reset that could reshape North American trade. And honestly, it's as spicy as it is strategic. Let's dive in. Okay, let's set the stage. Remember when Trump decided that tariffs were the solution to, well, everything? Yeah, that aged like milk in the desert sun. Republicans promised us these tariffs would make America rich and respected again. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Instead, what happened? Americans are paying more for goods. Because surprise, surprise, tariffs are literally just taxes that consumers pay. Who could have possibly predicted that? All right, every economist. Ever. But here's where it gets really interesting. Instead of bringing manufacturing back to America, or whatever fantasy they were selling, these tariffs have done something far more entertaining. They've pushed the entire developed world into China's arms. It's like watching someone try to win back their ex by being insufferable to everyone at the party. Spoiler, everyone just hangs out with the other person instead. And speaking of hanging out with other people, let's talk about Canada's newest friendship bracelet exchange. This week, PM Mark Carney is heading to the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in South Korea, and he's got a very important coffee date scheduled, a meeting with Xi Jinping himself. Carney called it the start of a broader discussion, which in diplomatic speak means we're testing the waters to see if we can be friends again. Now, context is key here, people. Canada and China haven't exactly been BFFs lately. Since 2018, when Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou got arrested in Canada, at America's request, by the way, China responded by arresting Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. The relationship went into the freezer faster than your leftover Tim Hortons coffee. But here's the thing, that was then. Now, America's trade war has created a perfect opportunity for Canada to diversify its relationships. Carney told reporters the meetings will cover a broad range of issues, including the commercial relationship and the evolution of the global system. We're talking money, trade, and how the world works now that America decided to flip the monopoly board. But wait, it gets better, because Carney didn't just agree to a friendly chat. Hold on to your tokes, because this is where things get absolutely wild. When asked about easing investment restrictions on Chinese capital and lifting those 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles that Canada slapped on in 2024, Carney didn't say no. He didn't say yes either, but he also didn't say no. Let me read you this quote. Relationships rebuild over time when they have changed for the worse. And so we have a lot of areas on which we can build. Do you hear that sound? That's the sound of American auto manufacturers nervously sweating. Because if Canada drops those EV tariffs, suddenly Chinese cars become very attractive to Canadian buyers. BYD, NIO, all those Chinese manufacturers who make actually affordable electric vehicles, they could flood the Canadian market. And here's the kicker that should make every American policymaker lose sleep. Carney even left the door open to negotiating a free trade deal with China. A free trade deal with the second largest economy in the world and Canada's second largest trading partner. Think about what that means for a second. While America is building walls, both literal and economic, Canada might be building bridges. Bridges to a market of 1.4 billion people. Now, before you think this is just about cars and trade deals, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Here's what's really happening and why this matters way beyond just cheap EVs. Trump's tariffs were supposed to isolate China and strengthen America's position. Instead, They're isolating America and strengthening China's position. It's like showing up to play chess and accidentally putting yourself in checkmate. Canada isn't making this move because we suddenly love authoritarian governments. Let's be crystal clear about that. China's human rights record is abysmal, and nobody's pretending otherwise. But here's the reality check. When your biggest trading partner and closest ally decides to start an economic food fight that makes you collateral damage, you start looking for other dinner parties to attend. Carney himself pointed out that China is one of the most influential nations on the world stage. That's not an endorsement. That's a fact. And facts don't care about your feelings, as a certain group of people love to say. The irony? Republicans spent years claiming they wanted to be tough on China. But their tactics have done the opposite. They've made China more attractive as a partner to other developed nations. Congratulations, you played yourself. Again. So what does this all mean for everyday Canadians? Let me break it down. If this relationship reset happens and those tariffs come down, here's what you might actually see. Cheaper electric vehicles. And I mean significantly cheaper. Chinese EVs can cost 30 to 50% less than their American or European counterparts. For a country trying to meet climate goals and where everyone complains about car prices, that's huge. More trade opportunities. China isn't just about cheap manufacturing anymore. They're leading in tech, green energy, and infrastructure. Canadian businesses could benefit from better access to those markets. Less dependence on America. Look, we love our southern neighbors, but putting all your economic eggs in one basket when that basket keeps threatening to drop you, that's just bad strategy. But, and this is important, there are risks. Becoming too economically dependent on China comes with its own problems. Geopolitical tensions, human rights concerns, and the fact that China plays hardball in ways that make American trade tactics look like a friendly game of tiddlywinks. The key is balance. Canada needs to be smart, strategic, and not jump